Obviously not the outcome that we planned for and prepared for, but I think, but we just talked about in the locker room, I think we haven't been the best version of ourselves yet. And it's one of those things that it's there. It's something that is very, very encouraging because we know we haven't been there yet. Our opponents have had a lot to do with that. We knew this was a tall task on the road, but we felt as though there are some things that we could do better. When we do that, we're going to be a really, really good team, and we'll make that a really, really good win for Louisville. And I'm proud of the effort that we had. We talked about being the more physical team. We talked about throwing the first punch and having 19 offensive rebounds. Hopefully played itself into that. Got to take care of the ball better. Obviously, everybody in the crowd told me we have to work on free throws. We do work on free throws. It's just stepping up and ringing the bell when the opportunity presents itself. We have unbelievable student athletes in our program. Extremely proud to be their coach. Extremely proud of the effort today. And it hurts because we feel like we left some out there. But the encouraging part is that we haven't touched the team that we can be and that we're going to be. And we look forward to continuing working towards that.
Coach, this was kind of a very physical game tonight. A lot of bumping and grinding. You were able to force Louisville into turnovers. Is that something that you just saw in film? Because it seemed like this was a game where they had a really, really high turnover. Was that something strategic?
Yeah, I think we want to be difficult to play against defensively. We want to disrupt. We're not a team that's out there denying and passing lanes and things like that. We want to pressure the ball. We want to be sort of like, a lot of what we do is very similar. I think Kelsey and I were talking about it after. Crowded floor when people drive it, very similar to what they do, make them think about it when they drive it and being in gaps. And I thought we were a good version of ourselves tonight. I think, we just talked about, I think probably a little too many points in the second half for us to get to the point where we were going to make a run. But I think it's consistent with every game that we play. It wasn't anything necessarily that was game specific with preparation for Louisville. They have good players. They're extraordinarily well coached. They make plays when they need to step up and make plays in the second half, and give them credit. But again, our effort and the ability to turn a very good team over with really good players, is something that we'll certainly celebrate. Eventually when we get to the point where we'll celebrate some of the positives that happened today.
You mentioned it was tough for your team to take care of the ball. What about the defense you saw from Louisville and made that tough on them? Or was it some more, just you guys, making your own and making mistakes with that? Yeah,
no, I think, I'm not going to certainly take anything away from their defensive effort. Kelsey is one of the hardest working people that I've ever been around. He recruited KT and KT played for him. And so we knew they were going to be extraordinarily well prepared. We expected that. They have length and athleticism in the same gaps that we play in. I don't necessarily remember. We had a couple that maybe were a little bit of a lapse in judgment, but we play fast. We want our kids to play with a lot of freedom. So there may have been a couple that were sort of unforced, but I think they did a good job of forcing us into some difficult spots. But it's hard without going back and looking at it to see exactly what it was. But again, as we knew they would be, they were very well prepared, and I would expect nothing less.
And then I saw that Pat gave you something before the game. Oh, was that a jersey?
So I was a kid just like we all were, and I loved basketball. And the thing when I played 100 years ago was game shorts. And so, we tried to, when Kels worked for my father, they tried to swipe game shorts for me from anywhere. So we actually took care of my son with some game shorts, which was very, very thoughtful. My son's 11. My daughter's going to be heated. But my son's about to come up in some game shorts, so he'll be fired up. So, again, very thoughtful, and I didn't need to do that, but certainly appreciate it.
You also played for Pat. Could you just kind of talk about, just his experience of getting to go up against him now here at Louisville?
Yeah, I can honestly say Pat Kelsey is one of a kind. But just being around him my freshman year and just everything that he taught me and the chemistry that we built, it was more so exciting to play against them today. See some old faces on the coaching staff, Coach Cloman, Jermaine, Eli. So I think it was more so excitement just seeing them guys today and being able to compete against them for the most part.
Mark, before the game, Pat kind of seemed reticent about playing you guys and how hard it was going to be for you guys and for yourself. You know, what was it like coming in, you know, facing, you know, someone who you've been close with now for decades?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun until the game started. And I think, you know, those things are always different. It always seems like a good idea at the time, and then in practice, it's a little bit different. I was an assistant at Bucknell University, and we signed a 2-for-1, I think, with Wake Forest. My father was there. We played. They came up and played us at our place first. It was the year before he passed, and they beat us in overtime. Ish Smith made a couple of threes at the end of regulation and won in overtime. He couldn't shoot at the time. I don't know how many threes he made in the league either. But a great kid, a great player. And for that 45 minutes, I was miserable because of obviously the euphoria that would come with us having the opportunity to win that game, but what it would mean for them if they lost that game. And so it always seems like a wonderful practice until it shows up. And again, we look at it, I'm all the same. We prepare. You can ask these guys. We prepare to win every game, no matter what's on the other person's jersey. We did that today, and like KT said, it's nice to renew some old acquaintances. But again, we came up here to win a game, and we didn't get that job done.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.